So recently I made a video on why Nintendo does not support the Smash competitive scene in terms of making tournaments and stuff like that, And I got a lot of good feedback, and I'm glad I could help out on clearing that conversation up. And if you haven't checked that video out, I'll put a link below so you could check it out. But while I was reading all the comments and having conversations with some of the viewers, there were some that were more upset of something else related to Nintendo and the competitive scene, and that is for Super Smash Bros. Melee, and how Nintendo, has been difficult to the Melee scene more than the Ultimate scene. Obviously, there is a lot of history there, and I don't know most of it, especially from the past, but there was recently a situation that people were bringing up where Nintendo got involved with the Melee scene, and that specific situation happened during the pandemic era where, there was a big tournament called Big House, and they were having a online tournament because, obviously there wasn't offline tournaments at that time, and the whole tournament shut down. But basically what happened there is that in order to play online for the Melee tournament, they were using a mod called Slippy to be able to use those online features for Melee, since there's no other way to play that because it's a GameCube game, right? So it doesn't have online. And because it was an illegal copied mod version, Nintendo asked the organizers from Big House to not use that mod on their Melee tournament. The organizers refused, so Nintendo had to piracy strike the organizers, and they had to shut down the whole tournament for using a mod version of Melee, because if not, it will become a big problem that they didn't want to deal with, And this led to a lot of people confused and just upset with Nintendo for getting involved. The community was upset because finally they had a way to play online Melee, and Nintendo does not support it. Then people were saying, if Nintendo does not support Slippy, why can't they make a remaster or remake version of Melee to play on modern consoles? That it's their fault we have to make these mods, That's how they felt. Now, I wanted to clear all this out, but I want to say I do not support Nintendo for doing these decisions. I'm just going to clarify everything on why this happens, Everyone by now knows how Nintendo is really protective for their intellectual properties, more than any other company. I mean, it's no secret, right? We've seen, so many situations that that Nintendo keeps, copyright striking everyone. I mean, the thing is, that's just how Nintendo is, like it or not, they can be so protective of their own property. Whether you agree or disagree, Nintendo has always been like that, and technically it is their property, so they could do, they could protect it as much as they want or not, But the problem is the Melee scene feels that they're getting targeted when that's not the case. It happens to anyone that uses their IPs in the wrong way, whether you're modding the game, or you're using an illegal way to play that certain game. It's not just towards the Melee scene. But about remastering or remaking Melee, there might be a scenario that could happen, but in a different way that people think, and I'll go over that in a bit. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, Nintendo needs to remaster or remake Melee, so that way, they don't have to make these mods or find different ways to play Melee, right? And it's a pretty good reason. I mean, I don't blame them to feel that way. The problem with this take is that it's all a business at the end of the day. I've seen, people say that they should make a port, at least that it won't take much to make a port, but people don't understand that it does take that much to make a port. Resources, developers are needed to make that port or remastering or remaking, a certain game. It's not as easy as people think. So I would ask you, is it a good decision to make a remastered version of Melee, even though the Smash Bros franchise is still relevant and we have Ultimate, Is it smart to create a remake or remaster of Melee to satisfy the Melee scene? Because obviously, that's the majority of the purchase will be towards, the Melee scene. Because I could tell you right now, that's a horrible decision business-wise, and they won't make a profit from the casual players, which that is a majority of the players in the Switch player base, Players are not gonna buy Melee when they have Ultimate, where all those same characters are in Ultimate. You know, the design and the design and the structure of Ultimate is better for casuals. It just wouldn't make sense for them to make Melee and only attract, you know, the hardcore Melee fans and not the general fans, you know. And it's not like Nintendo does not make remakes. Nintendo has been doing remakes, remasters, ports of their games. We've seen a lot through the Switch's live. This year alone, we had a few like Metroid Prime Remastered, Kirby's Return to the Dreamland, Advance Wars, 1+2 Reboot Camp, and recently we got a direct where, you know, they revealed more like Mario RPG and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So then you could ask, why not remake Melee or remaster it? Well, if I could ask you, you know, from all these titles that we just named, you know, that they remade or remastered, do you think Melee would sell as good compared to these titles that they're remastering? Because I could tell you right now, I highly doubt that it would sell that much. And I think that's just the reason why, you know, it's not feasible to actually remaster Melee. We already have Ultimate, right? Compared to these recent titles they remade and remastered, you know, these other titles they've been remaking or whatever, they've been dead for a long time, whether it's the franchise or the game itself. So that's why they're leaning more towards remaking these games or these titles or these franchises to revive that, see if there is a, you know, a market for it. That's basically the main reason why, you know, you won't ever see a standalone Melee remaster or remake version, because it's not realistically, it's not a good business move, you know. But there is a way we could see Melee in modern consoles, and it's actually two different ways that I believe could happen. The first way that I could see Melee coming back into, you know, modern consoles is through the Nintendo Online service. I believe we will see GameCube games in this service sometime in the future. It could even happen in the next system, right? I just think Nintendo right now is choosing specific GameCube titles they want to remaster or remake, and then putting the rest on that, you know, online Nintendo Online service. So we could see, you know, Melee through that. But there's also another way we could see it, and it's through a collection of Super Smash. So basically like Super Mario 3D All-Stars, you know, where that game had the Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy all in one, you know. We could see a collection of Smash games from Smash 64, Smash Melee, and Smash Brawl all in one, you know? Because like I said, a standalone Melee game is so unrealistic, but a collection of, you know, previous Smash games, 64, Melee, and Brawl, is a possibility, you know? Now, I respect the Melee community and how they are so committed to the game, you know? But that's just the reality of it. You know, some games and some franchises die, and sometimes we will never see them again, you know? I have a lot of games that I wish companies will bring back, and who knows if they ever will, or they will just, you know, they're just dead forever, you know. But thankfully the Smash franchise itself, the Smash Bros franchise, is alive and more than ever. Like, we have Ultimate right now and it's gonna keep going, you know. The Melee scene is alive because of the players and because of that commitment that scene has, you know. If not, it would have been long dead as well, you know. But what do you guys think? I just wanted to clarify on why these frustrations happen and why, you know, we could see it or not see it, you know, that remaster or remake. I may not agree with the decision they make, you know, Nintendo, but you know, I'm just trying to go over the facts and why this happens, you know. But let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.